Welcome back, and this lesson is going to cover how we attract an audience to our website. How do we get people to come to the website? How do we get them to come and visit, and why? And it's going to use a subject that we call content marketing. This is quite a big topic, so just give a quick overview of what we're going to learn. We're going to cover what is content marketing, what the types of content marketing are, which areas of content marketing will deliver the best results for us, and the planning process around how we do content marketing. So first of all, what is content marketing? Right? For somebody, this will be a pretty new concept, content marketing. It can often sound like one of those fluffy marketing terms, but this is a real useful piece of marketing, and it's based on the concept of you ask and we answer. You ask, we answer. What does that mean? Well, if I give you a bit of background on content marketing, there's a guy called Marcus Sheridan. He ran a company called River Pools and Spas, and they pioneered using content marketing techniques to turn an almost bankrupt company into one of the most successful pool company businesses in the USA. He's actually now a worldwide speaker on this technique and goes all around the world. He probably makes more money from his speaking engagements now than he ever did from his pool company. You can find out about Marcus at his website, which is thesaleslion.com, and on Twitter as well. So, what is it? This is, well, they established very quickly the most successful blog in the swimming pool industry. And all he did was he just went through and answered every single question that he had ever received from a consumer without any filters. Right? Immediately, within 6 months of doing that, he was top of the industry. You know, all he did was just thought about all the potential questions a customer might have, and he answered them. This is the leads and the traffic just absolutely poured in because of it. And this is what he had on his website. You know, listed the most popular questions. You have a look for them yourself, and people would these are the type of questions that people would Google. And so he was providing content that people would search for, and that's why it's called content marketing. So let me start with a real world example of content marketing and how we can adapt it to the wedding photography business. On my site, I had a basic set of frequently asked questions, 20 questions to ask your wedding photographer. I published this blog post back in 2009. Now, I really wasn't quite conscious of content marketing at all at that point. I was just doing what I thought was sensible and putting a list of frequently asked questions on my website, and I had 20 questions. Before I knew it, though, that page was ranking number 1 on Google for questions to ask your wedding photographer. And it did so for 8 years, for almost the whole time we ran our wedding business. And it was outperforming the major wedding photography blogs like The Knot and Brides Magazine, Confetti and all them. We were always at number 1 just for that particular question. So I thought, I wonder if this is a fluke. It's just lucky. I've been lucky to get this. So I did another one. How far ahead should I book my wedding photographer? You know, quite a common question people would ask. How far ahead should I book my wedding photographer? I wrote another blog article all around that, optimised it for those keywords, and then they were bang, number 1 again on Google. So think about what you are putting on your own website. Are you blogging? You know, is your blogging actually, you know, you're not blogging for blogging's sake. You've got to be marketing, right? You've got to be marketing all the time. So if you're one of the people that put up a blog post for every wedding that you do, that's fine, yeah. But do we really need all 500 plus images on that website page? Who's actually going to look through them, honestly? Are you going to put pre-wedding shoots up? Why? Sneak peeks, woohoo, yeah. Just that one image, no text. I've seen people do this, yeah, a sneak peek, bang, that's it, that's a blog post. Nothing else, just an image. What is the point a portrait session of wee Johnny and his sister Chantel. Yeah, lovely for Johnny's and Chantel's mum and dad, but it's not good marketing really. And again, you've really got to think about what you put in your website and why. Right? Why are you blogging? For better SEO, search engine optimization. People say, oh, the more you blog, the better you'll be on search engines. That's the biggest myth in the industry. You get better on search engines by doing certain things and just regularly blogging, and not actually one of them. You can get better, but it's not what you blog, it's the way you blog, right? That's what makes you get better search engines. Your clients love it. Yeah, great. How many clients do you have? Yeah, so you've got 20 great clients, 20 great people are looking at your website, that's all. It's not the clients you've had that you need to worry about, it's the new clients you need to worry about. You're doing it for marketing. You're blogging for marketing, people can see what I do. Okay, fair enough, but you don't want them to see everything you do. You only want them to see particular things. You've got to kind of think about your target client again and filter things. Or last reason, one of the reasons, I don't know why I blog, everybody else does it, so I think I need to do it. Did they? Does everybody else do it, really? Does your hotel do it? The wedding venues, do they do it? Does your local plumber do it? No, they don't. I think it's a thing in the photography industry, but we have to have a blog, so you don't need to have a blog. A blog can help, but it can take a lot of time. You really got to make sure you're not letting your own valuable time just run down the drain. Just, if you're going to blog, you blog for a reason and blog the right way, which we will talk about further in this series of lessons. So again, does the venue blog celebrant jeweler? No. You need to look at your return on investment in everything you do, right? How much time and effort am I putting into this, and what am I getting back from it, right? So think carefully about how you manage your time. I've said this before and I'll say it again, it's 80% business, 20% photography, right? So we need to manage our time properly. What does the customer want? Customer wants information to help them make a buying decision, right? Think about that. What does your customer want? When they come to your website, they want information to help them to decide to book you as a photographer. So that's what you need on your website, excuse me. So, helping customers make a buying decision. Think about the questions we might ask, and this is what we can use in content marketing. Should my wedding photographer be insured? Yeah, of course they should be, right? And so should the bride and groom, for that matter. So you can write quite an informative article on this, a blog article, a page, whatever you want to call it, just a page on your website answering that question. And we then optimize that page for the particular keywords, should my wedding photographer be insured. We'll talk about optimization, how you optimize your page in the next lesson coming up. But these are the questions you need to think about. What should I look for in a venue when planning a wedding? Another example. You're helping your customer make a buying decision. What happens if my photographer falls ill on my wedding day? Again, simple stuff, basic stuff. We all know the answers to these and we can all write articles for it. What happens if it rains? Easy peasy, right? We've all done weddings when it rains, we know what to do, don't we? And more. So just think about what the various kind of things of content marketing you could be putting on your website. Basically, you're answering your customers' questions. That in itself is building trust, right? You're delivering value to them. You're giving them value in that website. You're removing any objections, because you're answering all the objections first about why they should book you. That makes your selling easier. Content marketing, remember, it's informational, not promotional. So we've got to make sure we don't cross the line. We're providing them information, which in itself will become promotional, but it must come across as being informational. So what types can we do? Well, we do types of content marketing. We have what we call long form content marketing, which is a blog post, article, a video, something that takes quite a bit of time to read. So you actually get the best return on investment, in my opinion, on this one. So write quite a long article answering one of these questions for your customer, put a good 1,000 words into it, and you'll get really good return on that, because Google will index that site because it's got a lot of text in it. Short form, Twitter, Facebook, you can do quite easy social media posts, answering little snippets of questions. Social media is time consuming. Use a tool like postplanners.com. There's other tools out there which we'll come on to in later lessons. Conversational content marketing. If you work in forums and groups on Facebook, you can build up conversations with people, and that's a form of content marketing, because you're in there, you're answering questions, you're actually marketing your business without knowing it. You become an expert in that little field. That particular is great for breaking into a market, but again, be careful of your target audience. Make sure you're in the right groups and not the wrong groups, right? Who's reading this content? These are the people that you want to be coming to you, so be careful. Don't forget about video. Video has great engagement. It gets a lot of reach on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to give you an example. A portrait photographer used a number of years ago. Her name was Karen Wiltshire. She put a post up, is your baby turning 1? Look how much fun a cake smash is to celebrate that important milestone. And it was a little video of a cake smash, right? Now this really answers the question, what happens at a cake smash photo session? So think of it like content marketing like that. That's the link there. Obviously Karen owns the copyright to that little video, so I won't post it in this lesson, but you can go there and visit it. It's just the cutest little video, kid on a Facebook, kid having a cake smash session, and the amount of video views and stuff were off the charts, absolutely off the charts, right? Just incredible. So this is what can happen. She got 6.1 million views on that video, 6.1 million. It was shared over 98,000 times, right? Can you imagine that? 18,000 plus comments just because it went viral, right? 50,000 plus likes, all for a 2-minute video, right? And nicely produced, nicely put together video. It wasn't just flung out there. It was a nicely produced video, really well done. But that's the kind of return on investment you can get if you do it right. One thing to be aware of, just trying never to get caught by surprise if a post video goes viral like that. And I think at the time, I think Karen was, so she wasn't really prepared for that. She hosted that on Facebook video, and if she'd done it, and if she'd actually hosted the video on YouTube itself, instead of Facebook, she'd actually made quite a bit of money out of it, just the video. So be careful where you think about what you're doing first, and say, if this went viral, where do I need to put the video? And also, she wasn't taking advantage of some of the things she should be doing. She didn't have a website link in that video to take people to purchase in your purchasing page or booking page for things. So things like that you've got to think about. Make sure there's stuff in there that you can maximise. And ensure that video, if you're doing something like that, you would embed that in a full-blown informational article. You know, what happens at a cake smash? Little kid video, blah, and list what happens. We provide a cake, the kids come along, they have fun, you put the text in there as well, so it will be indexed by Google. You could even do a behind the scenes, what happens at when we're doing the photos at the wedding. You do a little mock setup, or get somebody to shoot some behind the scenes when you're working, and just show them that what actually happens, so they can see you working. That's a form of content marketing. Short form content marketing uses social media generally. To be done properly though, this takes a lot of time, and you've really got to think, I want to push out social media. You're pushing it, if you're pushing out content marketing on it, it can't just be all content marketing, because you've got to put some promotional information in there as well to remind people of where you are. And so you push out 8 informational articles for every 1 or 2 promotional. You have to constantly engage with social media. It's for a lot of businesses, this is actually a full-time role. So we're smaller businesses, we really don't have the time to do that properly. But I'll give you some tips on how we handle that later in the course. We do handle time management of social media, so you can, without paying for the services of a social media manager, you can get something quite like that, and I'll explain later. Conversational content marketing. This is properly using social media. Requires a lot of engagement with a potential customer, and it's a third form of content marketing. Again, you're offering an informative advice rather than just promotional offers. It's actually quite difficult to pull off with the amount of time you would have available, because you've really got to sit on these groups and wait for questions to come up, and you can then jump in and answer them. So it's difficult. But again, we'll mention tools later in the course that can help with these. So getting started with content management, you've got to define your message. What do you want to get across to your potential clients? Think like them. What information would they need, right? Make a list of their potential questions. What about your objectives? What you're trying to achieve here, remember, right? How will you measure success, right? Now for me, measuring success in my content marketing was how many visitors I would get to my website, for one, but also how many other pages would they go to after they'd been there. So if they came to my website page about 20 questions to ask a photographer, did you just go there and leave, or did they further engage in my website, wanting to find out more about my photography? So that was my measurement of success. Define those key metrics and log them and track it over time. See how well your pages are doing. Do we need to tweak the question a little bit? Do we need to tweak the answers a little bit? Build yourself an editorial calendar. You can't do all this at once, right? So sit with a calendar one day and say, right, I'm going to allocate, 1 day a week to content marketing, right? Because it takes a while to write a full-blown blog post, article, website page, 1,000 words, takes a long time. Plan it out, and then plan out, right, so if you've got a list of 20 questions, get them in the calendar and say, I'm doing that one on Tuesday, I'm doing that one the following Tuesday, that one the next Tuesday. Plan it out, right? So what are you going to write about and when? Consider actually how to make some of the articles topical. Time of year might be relevant, right? As you're coming into autumn and winter, that'll be a good time to see what happens to my wedding photographs if it rains, because that's the type of year that people will be thinking about it. A great one timing wise is just after Christmas. A lot of couples get engaged at Christmas, so if you can release an article in the beginning of January saying how far ahead should I book my wedding photographer, that's quite topical and quite timely. Be realistic about your writing ability and the time available to write 1,500 plus words. It does take a while. You can spend a full day on this. So after at the start, maybe one a month is a good rate. Because remember, you'll be editing videos. You edit videos. You'll be editing weddings and stuff. So manage your time accordingly. I would rather do one 2,000 word article a month than 400 500 word articles a month, right? Because a 2,000 word article will get a lot more traction on Google and search than a 500 word article would. So you see what we're doing here. It's not just quality, it's also quantity. Google likes words, and if you can get a quality article with a lot of words in it, it'll work well. So what's the benefits? You'll increase your sales. You'll actually save costs here in the long run, because you're actually getting a route to your customer that's no longer reliant on traditional advertising, right? You're getting free advertising effectively, because if your question, the question that you're answering is being indexed on Google, you're ranking up well on Google for the answer to that question. Google is bringing you free traffic. You're not having to advertise to get this traffic. Customer loyalty, if a customer comes to your site and they see you're providing all this information, this is amazing, this guy is really helping me make a decision, a bit of loyalty will start to creep in here. And you'll get search engine optimization benefits without even realizing it, basically accidentally. Even if you didn't optimize the content properly, you'll still get SEO benefits from this. But what we really want to do is optimize it properly, which we'll do in the next lesson coming up. So there you have it. That's content marketing. You ask, we answer. Simple as that. Thanks for watching.